Sleep paralysis is a terrifying experience on its own. However, the stories people share about the things they've seen during these episodes are enough to send chills down anyone's spine. I'm sharing this story because I, too, have encountered this frightening phenomenon. I'll never forget the first time I saw him, the figure that is now etched into my memory, the hatman. It began like any typical evening. I followed my usual routine, preparing for bed after a particularly exhausting day. Although I was feeling a bit off, nothing serious enough to worry about, I decided to take some medicine to help me sleep. I crawled into bed, hoping to unwind and find some relief from the stress of work. I turned on the TV, expecting to find something to distract myself, but all I could find were infomercials for products I'd never even think about buying. Before I realized it, I had drifted off to sleep. What felt like only seconds later, I opened my eyes to find the room completely dark, save for the faint glow of moonlight coming through my window. That's when I first saw him, the hatman. At first, all I could make out were two piercing red eyes that glowed with an unsettling intensity, staring at me from the shadows. As my eyes adjusted to the dim light, the figure of a tall silhouette began to form, almost like a dark mist rising from the shadows. He was enormous, at least 8 feet tall, and dressed in a long, tattered trench coat. A wide-brimmed hat sat atop his head, casting his face in shadows, but I could somehow feel that he was smiling at me, an ominous, unsettling grin. My heart pounded in my chest as a wave of dread washed over me. What happened next was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. The figure slowly raised one of his long, shadowy arms and pointed directly at me. Panic struck, and I tried to move. Anything, but I couldn't. Not a single muscle in my body would obey. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't make a sound, and I couldn't even budge my eyes. The figure didn't seem to care. With a deliberate, slow movement, it began to float toward me, moving effortlessly through the air, as if it knew that I was powerless to stop it. Every inch closer he got, the more my heart raced. I strained with every ounce of my strength to move, but nothing happened. I couldn't even blink. The fear of closing my eyes in that moment felt worse than the fear of facing him. When the shadow was just 3 feet away from me, towering above my body, his glowing red eyes locked onto mine. I felt as though his gaze was piercing straight through me, into my very soul. I could feel the terror overwhelming me, and before I knew it, tears were streaming down my cheeks. I told myself it had to be a dream, that I would wake up any second. Please wake up. Please wake up. I thought desperately to myself, but nothing changed. The shadow leaned in, bending toward me as if he were about to whisper something in my ear. I began to panic even more. That's when the weight on my chest grew unbearable. I could feel each breath becoming more labored than the last. With every inhale, the air grew thinner, until I couldn't breathe at all. My chest tightened, and the lack of oxygen started to make me dizzy. All the while, the figure's face was still hidden beneath the brim of his hat, but his red eyes were unwavering, staring into mine. I felt myself slipping away, my vision growing dark from the lack of air. My mind screamed in fear, not because I wanted to see his face, but because I knew that something terrible was about to happen. Just as I thought I couldn't fight anymore, my eyes closed, and I was pulled into unconsciousness. I woke up suddenly, gasping for air, my chest heaving as I tried to breathe again. Tears were still streaming down my face, and my heart was racing. It took a few moments for me to comprehend what had just happened. What was that? Was it real? I couldn't explain it. It felt so vivid, so terrifyingly real. Was I just dreaming, or had I really encountered something beyond explanation? I spent the rest of that night, and many more nights after, unable to sleep. The fear of facing him again haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I might encounter the hatman once more. Was it a nightmare or something else entirely? I still don't know, but I truly hope it never happens again. And I pray it never happens to you. Good night and sweet nightmares.